The Election Commission of India has released the data on electoral bonds purchased by companies to donate to political parties. The State Bank of India's affidavit states that 22,217 bonds were purchased between April 1st, 2019 and February 15, 2024. Out of that, the total number of bonds redeemed during this period is 22,030. The top 5 parties to have received the bonds are BJP, which received 47% of total bonds of amounts rupees 6,061 crores. BJP is followed by Trinamool Congress, Indian National Congress, Bharat Rashtriya Samiti and Biju Janata Dal. Future Gaming and Hotel Services has emerged as a top purchaser of electoral bonds, followed by Megha Engineering and Infrastructure Limited, Quavik Supply Chain Private Limited, Vedanta Limited and Haldia Energy Limited. The SBI also stated that the bonds that had not been encashed by political parties were transferred to Prime Minister's National Relief Fund. I'm going to go to the big wall over there. We're going to have a conversation about this. What exactly the information, the data that has been released and the top political parties, who has now received the money of the electoral bonds. So first we have over here the Bharatiya Janata Party, rupees 6,061 crores worth of electoral bonds have been purchased for the Bharatiya Janata Party. We're of course outlining the top political parties who've had companies buy electoral bonds. Okay, rupees 1,610 crores worth of electoral bonds have been received by the Trinamool Congress. So this is next in line after the Bharatiya Janata Party, the Trinamool Congress. All right, after that we have the Indian National Congress, rupees 1,422 crores worth of bonds have been purchased for the political parties. Again, we have over here the Bharat Rashtriya Samhiti, rupees 1,215 crores, their viewers, electoral bonds that have been purchased. This is of course the data that has been released. Biju Janata Dal over here, rupees 776 crores worth of bonds purchased for the Biju Janata Dal. This is exactly what they have received. We've given you an understanding on the donors. The top 10 donors have been outlined, prominent businesses. We've also now given you an understanding on what the political parties have received via these electoral bonds. In fact, to give us his perspective, today joining us at this point of time is Professor Madhav Nalapat. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you so much for speaking to us on NewsX. You know, we've given our viewers an understanding on the top 10 donors. Prominent names have been unraveled. We also now have an understanding on the electoral bonds data. What kind of money have all these parties received? I mean, what would you like to say on this? Do you think, is this going to help in any way, putting out all this data? Is this going to have a positive impact? Is this going to have a negative impact? How is this going to all truly pan out?
First of all, I would like to welcome the decision of the Supreme Court. Transparency is important in a democracy, and this is money given to political parties to conduct democratic processes. This is not money given to conduct acts of terror or smuggling or any illegal activity. Politics in India, is illegal in China. It is illegal in North Korea. It is definitely not illegal in India. So first of all, I would like to say that in such a situation, I see absolutely no problem in complete transparency in the matter. Secondly, I think it is extremely hypocritical of some political parties to point at political parties that have received this kind of money for a simple reason that this is legal money. It is from a bank account. It is not cash. And those politicians and parties that were used to handling cash, they probably don't like legal money. And I think that is very unfortunate and bad for democracy. There's no harm in giving money legally to a political party. It's done, for example, in the United States. People are free to donate money to political parties, to candidates. I think that should be the norm in India as well. So, I would only, second point, there's something wrong about this. There's something not right about this. This is utter, total hypocrisy on the part of parties that are frankly specialized in making legal processes illegal. And I would like to, amplify on that. For example, a lot of finger pointing is there. Oh my God, somebody who's involved in quote unquote betting or something. I don't know. I haven't really looked careful. Look, people indulge in betting. You ban betting, you're driving betting underground. I mean, tens of thousands of crores of rupees through Hawala channels has gone to betting in cricket in the past because it was driven underground. You can't stop betting. You can't stop gambling. You can't stop alcohol. And all these things, if you ban, then what happens? You're incentivizing smuggling, you're incentivizing black money, and you're basically harming the exchequer and the economy. For example, liquor. If you ban liquor, what happens? You have illicit liquor. Much of that is poisonous, and the government does not get the revenue from liquor. So, quite frankly, the arguments against electoral bonds are completely hypocritical, because in India, there's been a specialization of making things that should be legal illegal so that you can collect money in black. The less money there is in black, the more money that is there transparent, the better. And when I say transparent, again I like to say, if I have, let's say I like a political party, or I like two parties, or I like a candidate, I have given some money. I see no problem. I mean, I don't see why I should be. Have a problem in that becoming public. So I totally support the Supreme Court judgment on making it public. And I totally support the scheme of electoral bonds. I think it's a very valid scheme. And in my view, if it is gone, it may be replaced with the old idea of black money, slush money, hawala money, all kinds of money getting involved. Here it is clean, white money. And if it is clear who's paying the money, I think that is a very good way. And I think this system of electoral bonds should be continued. And in fact, there should be severe punishments on the use of cash in elections, in political parties, undeclared cash to be used by political parties. There should be very severe punishments, whereas electoral bonds, in my view, provided they are transparent, is absolutely essential in a democracy.
All right, so what you're essentially trying to put out there is that this should be normalized, is what you're saying. There should be a transparent process that should be put in place, because it's authentic and proper bank transfer that's taking place. There's nothing illegal happening over there. And what you essentially outlined over here is that no further meaning should be attached to this. There's just...
You're perfectly right about that. I think that it was a good thing that electoral bonds were introduced, and I think it was wrong to have made this non-transparent, because it immediately raised suspicions. Now, the Indian people are the ones who choose their leaders. The colonial masters never trusted the people of India with anything, any kind of information. The fact is that after freedom, unfortunately for decades, governments did not trust them. Today, this government under Narendra Modi is trusting the people a lot more than previous governments. And it's a work in progress. I'm sure there will be much more transparency in this third term than there was in the second term. And the second term, there was much more transparency than the first term. So that's a very important point of view. The point is very simple. Electoral bonds, since they are through banks, since they are legal money, they are much more preferable to alternative. If you ban electoral bonds, it's like banning gambling and alcohol. You drive it underground, you bring all kinds of mafiosi elements and hawala elements into play, and you do extensive damage. So I believe electoral bonds should continue, and I believe they should continue with full transparency, which is why I say the Supreme Court decision on transparency is welcome, and the earlier government decision on electoral bonds is also welcome.
All right, so
for more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.